It's that time of year again, at long last, and it's better than ever, and super excited, and you know why? I'm pointing at it right here. It's time to make our picks, and here we go. Alright, just gets you going every time, and I wish they never got rid of that theme. This is Gray Fox 37.
Pikachu 23.
And it's time for the 2022 March Madness Pick'ems. This has just been a phenomenal, shocking, surprising year, and super happy that everything's back to normal again, and we can finally enjoy being in college, or enjoy college basketball again for its purity and its just full on madness, of course. And of course, you know, me being an Arizona alum, you know why I'm super happy right now, and I'm circling it right here.
Oh yeah.
After making a video of the uncertainty of Arizona's basketball season, I gotta tell you, I didn't expect them to make such a turnaround in year one. This was just one of the most phenomenal seasons I've seen in the history of basically being a college basketball fan, to be honest. I mean, Arizona did win a national championship in '97. I didn't know much about basketball then because I was still young and whatnot, but just to have Tommy Lloyd come in, you know, it's like, oh, you know, he's got some good players come in, and I think they'll surprise a few people. We'll see how far they go. And then all of a sudden, it's like number 2 in the country. Everybody is like, they're a popular pick for the national championship to win it all. Yeah, it's just a great feeling. How do you feel, Pikachu?
I was really surprised at how good Tommy Lloyd was. I mean, he was the assistant coach for Gonzaga, and that coach is really good, but I didn't expect it to be this good.
Right. I loved that when we were watching the CBS Sports Pick'em last night. I loved how they were talking about, like how this one guy said youth could nip Arizona in the bud, which is possible, but then he said, yeah, I'll take Benedict Mathurin any day. I was like, yeah.
Right?
Even Pikachu's cousin, he's a member of the Stanford coaching staff. He even, like, after we went to the Stanford game back on March the 3rd, and even he was just like, we didn't even have an answer for Benedict Mathurin or Christian Coloco. They're just so good.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man. And we were like, yeah, we need to have a rematch in the Pac-12 tournament. We did the quarterfinals, and again, Stanford played their hearts out. I mean, I knew Arizona was going to have a tough path. It was basically a trio of revenge. You know, getting back at Stanford, again, getting back at Colorado, which was just an amazing game. The UCLA game, coming back from being down 13 to just, you know, completely embarrassing UCLA. It was just such a great feeling, and UCLA is no pushover. I mean, you're going to see what I'm talking about how far I pick them when we get to that point there. But UCLA is loaded. So overall, we're going to start with my picks. We're going to obviously give analysis. I'm not I don't want to say sharpest tool in the shed. I'm not like the most knowledgeable person, but I've got a lot of good insight. I can tell you like what's a popular pick. I'll tell you what I'm going for, potential upsets. There's a lot of good teams this year in the tournament. That's why it's going to be really exciting there. So you already probably know who I'm picking for my champions, so that's going to be easy there. But I'll just say right away, pick either Gonzaga or Arizona. Either one of them, I think, is going to take it all this year. I think that both of them are complete teams, and they're the best teams in the country. So we'll start off in the West bracket with Gonzaga taking on Georgia State. It's pretty much a no-brainer who's going to win that one there. I got to tell you, Gonzaga, there's a gentleman by the name of Chet Holmgren who, in contrast with Drew Timme, I tell you, it's one of the best front courts you're going to find out there, basically, and it's just that they got a better defensive presence with this kid. 7'1". He's not as built as Koloko. He's a little more lanky, but I tell you, if they meet in the national championship, that Chet Holmgren and Christian Koloko matchup will be just epic proportions there. The 8-9 matchup afterwards, Boise State and Memphis. I'm going with Boise State. Emmanuel Acott, who started off playing for Arizona during that one incoming class with DeAndre Ayton that we thought was going to be great and then turned out to be a bust. He transferred to Boise State. Memphis is kind of on the rebound and everything, and this will be a close game. It's a toss-up. Like 8-9 games are always usually a toss-up, but I'm going to go for Boise State. Basically, I really, I got to show some respect for former Arizona players, so I'm going to pick Boise State in that. Now, 5-12 matchups. 12s are, very popular to pick for upsets on this, and this is pretty much one of them. UConn, New Mexico State. Now, UConn in no way, I'm just going to let you know, like, UConn in no way, basically, they're not going to, they're not a bad team or anything of that nature. They've got a decent, amount of NBA talent. They've got really good wings on their team and whatnot. They know how to crash the glass well. RJ Cole, their guard RJ Cole is unselfish. He's really aggressive to the hoop. So and then you've got Tyrese Martin. He's a great shooter. So UConn's got a great team. But then if you go to New Mexico State, New Mexico State has a lot of people all around that are pretty athletic, and they're going to match you basically blow for blow. Chris Jans is a really Chris Jans basically. He's a phenomenal coach, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a better coaching gig eventually. Then get out of this, but they've got a lot of solid size for a team that's in a weaker conference. I'm picking New Mexico State in this one. Arkansas and Vermont. Arkansas made a late season surge. I had Arkansas dead to rights for a bit because they were just in the middle of the season. They fell out of the top 25. Things were looking bad, and then they just came out of nowhere and surged up again. Last season, they were really good, and they were a dark horse that I had picked. Obviously, this year I don't really. They're Sweet 16 capable this year. They just happen to have Gonzaga in their bracket. But, this is another trap game. Some 4-13s, if you wanted to pick an upset, Vermont could upset Arkansas. I'm picking Arkansas to win this one. Vermont plays a lot like Colgate, and Arkansas almost lost to Colgate last year when it was a 3-14 matchup. Vermont plays a very big slowdown, and I'll tell you that slowdown, teams that can slow you down basically in the tournament are teams that can advance pretty well. It's all about speed. If you can overcome that and you're fast enough, more power to you, but a lot of slow down teams are going to get you going basically. But Vermont's been, this is I think it's the fourth time that they've come into the tournament and whatnot, and they've got a few good players like Ryan Davis and Ben Shungu, that can come in there and just create havoc for you there. So don't fall asleep on Vermont. I'm going to pick Arkansas, but it's going to be a close one. I'll tell you that it'll be a close one there. And then of course Arkansas. Arkansas potentially could be a dark horse, though. They could beat Gonzaga even. Like I said, they're another. It's surprising that they're back-to-back years of being a dark horse and whatnot. And you got Jalen Williams and J.D. Note. They're basically they were basically in the tops in scoring and scoring and rebounding basically in the SEC. So yeah, that's why I'm picking Arkansas, because they could be a sleeper again. Now, Alabama plays the winner of the Rutgers-Notre Dame game. I'm picking Notre Dame to beat Rutgers, but Rutgers, they've been an enigma this year. Basically, they've had amazing quad wins and whatnot, quad one wins. but they've also had some. They're just like Alabama. Both Alabama and Rutgers have had the most bizarre. Like when Alabama plays its best, they'll beat anybody. Same with Rutgers. But then, like, basically, you wonder who's going to come to the court. Is it going to be the Alabama that upset Gonzaga early in the season, or is it going to be the Alabama that dropped these just unbelievably lousy games to inferior opponents? So we'll see what happens there. But, you know, Rutgers more than likely will beat Notre Dame because Rutgers has a really good defense. I'm picking Notre Dame because I'm just happy that they barely made it in. And then I'm picking Notre Dame over Alabama. I'm thinking like Alabama's worst is going to show up, you know, so I'll keep my fingers crossed there. But honestly, I would pick Rutgers. Like, I'm still going to win this, you know, regardless of who wins the Rutgers game. So, you know, Rutgers could probably beat Alabama. Like, I honestly don't, this season's going to be shocking, or this tournament's going to be shocking, because I don't see any 11 seed. I see 11 seeds beating all the 6 seeds this year, ironically enough, and that's just a rare pick. Texas Tech and Montana State. I'm picking Texas Tech. Texas Tech's another sleeper that you know, could potentially have an Elite Eight matchup with Gonzaga, even Arkansas. You know, I mean, I still think Gonzaga is going to get to the national championship and all, but it's still not out of the possibility of Texas Tech even getting a Final Four as well. I mean, they have a great team, basically set up. They have one of the best defenses in the country that you're going to find around there. You know, basically, like Mark Adams is one of the best defense. You know, basically, Mark Adams is just a defensive-minded coach. You know, just really, you know, really, you'd think like when Chris Beard left for Texas that it was all over, and then Mark Adams just kept bringing on the, you know, the talent and everything. And, you know, Kevin McCullough, he's basically going to be leading that defense hard. I mean, and, you know, Montana State, props to them. This is the first time that they've been in the tournament for ages, but yeah, definitely picking Texas Tech. Michigan State sadly had a pretty bad year. They started off highly touted, and then they just kind of kept dropping in and out, and then they eventually dropped out of the top 25. Normally, Michigan State does play its best under pressure. Davidson, I'll tell you this, Davidson it's a 7-10 trap game. Davidson's good, I'll tell you that. They've got a lot of talent in their team. I'm picking Michigan State to survive and basically make it out, but it's going to be a very close game there. I mean, I love Tom Izzo. I respect Michigan State's basketball team more than their football team. So, but I mean, if you want to do a 7-10 upset, Davidson can definitely beat Michigan State, but I'm going to pick Michigan State just because of experience. Duke and Cal State Fullerton. Cal State Fullerton had a great Big West championship. I was so happy for them, you know, basically pulling off that victory over top seed Long Beach State in the conference. It was by a point. They held the defense at that other end, held them from even getting a last-second shot off, which was great. Duke, though, on the other hand, you know, this is Mike Krzyzewski's final season. Duke being Duke, of course, I'm going to move them forward in the second round there. I don't really see Cal State Fullerton giving Duke any problems, to be honest there. It might keep it close a little bit, but then, like, Duke's going to swamp them because they're Duke. Gonzaga, Boise State in the second round, moving to Gonzaga. Boise State could probably hang around for a bit, but I just think Gonzaga's athleticism and speed is just going to basically dominate Boise State in the end there. New Mexico State, Arkansas. I'm picking Arkansas to move to the Sweet 16 in that. It's going to be a close one. You know, New Mexico State will match blow for blow with Arkansas, but I think Arkansas's got enough to, you know, make it to the Sweet 16 again. Notre Dame and Texas Tech. I'm picking Texas Tech. Notre Dame, you know, they're going to be so frustrated with Texas Tech's defense that they're just not going to be able to get their patented shots off. Texas Tech's going to slow things down and just make things a nightmare. I think this will be a low-scoring game. Like whoever reaches 50 or 60 first wins, basically at that point. Michigan State Duke would normally be a clash of the Titans, but you know, Michigan State just sadly struggling. Duke's going to pretty much handle them. It might be close, or it might just be a blowout. But I'm picking Duke in that one. So Sweet 16, Gonzaga, Arkansas. Arkansas could potentially beat Gonzaga. They've got the talent to do it, but I'm moving Gonzaga in because again, it's just so fast. Great players, great athleticism. So, but don't be afraid if you're an upset-minded person. Don't be afraid to pick Arkansas. I'll just say that. Texas Tech and Duke. Texas Tech can beat Duke, and I'm actually picking Texas Tech to beat Duke. This is a good Duke team, but it's not a great Duke team, and I think Texas Tech's defense is really going to give Banchero a really tough, Paul Banchero a tough time in this, and I think Texas Tech in the end will pull it off. So basically, Duke, don't be afraid to pick Duke against Gonzaga. Duke did beat Gonzaga earlier in the season, but Texas Tech just got better as the season went along. So I think that's going to be a victory there. Now, Gonzaga and Texas Tech could also potentially beat Gonzaga, but again, this will be a closer game for Gonzaga here, but they'll pull it off, basically having the better offense. So that's my first Final Four team. There is Gonzaga in the West. Now let's move on to my favorite bracket, the South. We're seeing Arizona taking on the winner of Wright State Bryant. Bryant's has a great story basically going on right now. Apparently on the team, from what I've heard, like their coach is just filled to the brim with optimism. They're really excited. Basically, this is their first appearance, since they arrived in Division I in 2008. And apparently you need to watch them and everything of that nature. They have a player that transferred out of Rutgers that plays for them that's really good. I think his name's like Peter Kiss or something like that. I mean, Bryant I think will beat Wright State, and then I think Bryant will just hang around for the first part of the game, and then Arizona will just start, swamping their dominance, obviously. So Arizona obviously to the second round there. Seton Hall TCU, I'm picking TCU because TCU basically had major upsets in the regular season against They beat Kansas, they beat Texas, they beat Texas Tech, and it was near the end of the season. I mean, Jamie Dixon has them riding high. It's always a toss-up, but I'm definitely going with TCU on that because they just really came out guns a-blazing at the end of the season, and they're kind of peaking at the right time. Houston and UAB. UAB could potentially beat Houston. I'm taking Houston because they're a great rebounding team. Kevin Sampson's a great coach. This is kind of a 12-5. I wouldn't really go for the 12 in this case because I just think Houston has better talent. It's going to be a close game though. Another 4-13 matchup, Illinois-Chattanooga. Chattanooga's good, I'll tell you that. Chattanooga is really good, and they could potentially upset Illinois. I'm just picking Illinois basically because they're as long as they stay healthy, Illinois is basically going to have, they're going to have a tough game, I'll tell you that. They're going to have a really tough game in that. But at the end of the day, I really think Illinois is going to come away with it. Andre Curbelo is is just such a great player, and Trent Frazier is like one of the best defenders in the country. But Chattanooga is going to basically, this could go down to the wire. So if you're looking for another 4-13 upset, there's another one for you. But I'm picking Illinois. Colorado State, Michigan. Michigan squeaked in with a 17-14 record, but they had enough quality wins basically to get in quadrant one. Colorado State coming off a great Mountain West championship. Basically, Colorado State's a good team, but I think Michigan's going to pull it off because they just have better size in this game. Michigan was a team that Arizona, when Michigan was number 4, Arizona was unranked and beat the stuffing out of them in Vegas. And that was when I was like, oh my God, Arizona might actually be really good this year. So that was the beginning. But I think Michigan's going to outlast Colorado State. It'll be a close game, but I think Michigan's size will take it out. So like I said, another 11 beating a 6. Tennessee and Longwood. This is Longwood's first appearance in the tournament in their school history, which is great for them. Tennessee's going to win, though. Tennessee, boy, I tell you, they are one of the best defensive teams in the country next to Texas Tech. They're a scary team, I'll tell you that. They beat Arizona in Knoxville, and unfortunately, I was in Vegas watching that game and was sadly, lamentably disappointed at the outcome for that. So, Tennessee is Elite 8 material. They're even potentially Final Four. They could beat Arizona, but we'll get to that, when the time comes there. But I'm definitely picking Tennessee. Ohio State taking on Loyola Chicago. This is another 10-7 where I'm picking Loyola Chicago as the 10 seed to beat them. Ohio State had an inconsistent season. Last year, obviously, Oral Roberts as a 15 seed upset Ohio State, and I think you picked them, Pikachu, Oral Roberts, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, and they ended up going, and Oral Roberts ended up going to the Sweet 16.
Oh yeah, them. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was quite something. So, but yeah, Loyola Chicago, it's just they're a nightmare matchup that you basically don't want to face. They're a slow down team as well, and they play just intelligent basketball. I'm picking Loyola Chicago in that. Villanova, Delaware. Delaware isn't really that good. Villanova winning the Big East and everything, riding high. I'm taking Nova in that. Basically, that's a no-brainer there. Arizona and TCU. Arizona's going to have a tough time, but they're going to prevail. I think it'll probably be like a 5 or 10 point victory. TCU's going to give Arizona some trouble, but Arizona is just too fast and athletic, and they'll basically overcome TCU. But it's going to be a scary matchup. I mean, going forward, these games are going to be tough for Arizona, but on paper, they'll make it through. Houston and Illinois is a toss-up. I'm going for Illinois because Boku is basically an Illinois fan. He's from Illinois. He was born in Joliet. And, Houston, though, they could possibly win this, too. It's kind of a toss-up, but I'm going to go for Illinois for for a rematch game from the Champaign game back in December that Arizona won by 5, and Illinois wasn't at full power. Both teams are way different teams right now, and it's going to be another great matchup. Michigan, Tennessee. Tennessee's defense is just going to dominate Michigan, and Michigan will just be happy to get out of the first day. Tennessee's going to move on in that one. Loyola Chicago, Villanova. Loyola Chicago's a popular Sweet 16 pick, and it wouldn't surprise me if they actually beat Villanova. I think Villanova at the end of the day, I feel Villanova at the end of the day is going to pull it off, but it's going to be tough. Even though Villanova isn't that deep and whatnot, I still feel that because of Gillespie being healthy and whatnot and just leading this team, that he'll basically make the right shots at the right time to push him over the upset-minded 10 seed there. Arizona and Illinois will be another classic, another thriller. Arizona's going to pull away. They've got the speed and the talent to do it. But it'll be a close one. I wouldn't be surprised if it went to overtime or something like that. But it'd be a great way to get a little revenge. I mean, even though it was the Elite Eight in 2005 that Illinois made a 15-point comeback for overtime and then won. So this would be kind of like a little revenge for that that era there. Tennessee and Villanova. I think Tennessee is going to beat Villanova. Tennessee, again, is just another dark horse pick. Villanova is going to Tennessee is going to shut off Gillespie the best they can because they're both Villanova and Tennessee are both perimeter teams. So it's going to be an interesting match to see that. Arizona and Tennessee, it's going to be another close one. This is a revenge game. I think Arizona is going to win because Tennessee doesn't have the size, and Arizona's peaking at the right time. It's still going to be a close game, but Arizona, I think, is going to still come out on top. So there's your second Final Four team. All right, we're halfway done with my bracket here. So we're going to go to the East bracket with Baylor and Norfolk State. I'm just picking Baylor to go forward. Baylor isn't as good as they were last year. They're, defending national champs, but, they have Arizona transfer James Akinjo, who's doing pretty darn well. Baylor's had a few hiccups this season, but they've still got a lot of good talent, and they could potentially, make another Final Four run. It is possible, but we'll get to that when we get there. North Carolina and Marquette. I'm taking North Carolina basically out of tradition. Shaka Smart coaches Marquette. I'm aware. So, North Carolina North Carolina, I like their talent a lot more than Marquette, basically. Shaka Smart's a great coach, and it's great to see that he got another team to get to the NCAAs, but I'm going to pick North Carolina to get in this one. There's going to be a silent hold real quick. We're going to grab dinner, so I'll be right back. And we're back. So just, Pikachu's going to eat and stuff, and I'll just keep going on my bracket. I'll probably be taking a pause to drink and stuff. So St. Mary's, and then the winner of the Wyoming-Iowa game, another 5-12 matchup there. I'm going to pick not Iowa, Indiana. Sorry, I'm going to pick Indiana to beat Wyoming. I really love how Indiana's kind of made a surge during the season, and Wyoming's a good team. Don't get me wrong; they squeaked in as a at large with that, obviously. But I'm going to pick Indiana. I'm going to pick St. Mary's though to win. I remember watching St. Mary's against Notre Dame, and another slowdown team. They did upset Gonzaga as well. So, they've got, they could be a sleeper that could, make a deep run in this bracket here. You never know. I could even make it to the Elite Eight, but they've kind of been like a little Cinderella pick and whatnot for that. UCLA, 4-seed UCLA take on Akron. UCLA's just got too much, talent. Basically, Johnny Juzang and Hawkeye are basically, or Hawkeyes are just basically. They're just, you got Tiger Campbell and whatnot. They're just too darn good, and they're going to swamp Akron, I think. So don't do a 4-13 pick upset on that. Texas and Virginia Tech, 6-11. Virginia Tech I'm going with them. Very popular pick right now for an early exit. They're technically the sure thing for a 11-6 upset, but then it's like, can you really call them that? Because look at the talent. All the 6-11s are major teams, and it's like, yeah, it's true. Texas, I'm proud of Chris Beard, getting the team in for his first year coaching and whatnot. But Virginia Tech winning the ACC, upsetting Duke, they're a hot pick right now, and I'm going to pick them too. Purdue taking on Yale, 3-14. Purdue's going to come away with this one. Yale's a tricky team, I'll tell you that. Don't count them out short. If you want to pick a 3-14 upset, Yale could potentially be the team that beats Purdue. So don't overlook that there. But I think because Purdue's going to outlast them. Might be too close for comfort, but Boilermakers will make it through that game there. Murray State, San Francisco, really exciting game. I'm really looking forward to watching this one. San Francisco, this is the first time in a while that I've seen three teams come out of the Western or West Coast Conference, that Gonzaga and St. Mary's are a part of. So San Francisco, had a really good year. Murray State went undefeated in their conference, and I was picking them to be a sleeper potentially. KJ Williams and Tevin Brown, they basically upset Marquette back in 2019. They're still hanging out around and whatnot. And this is they haven't lost since December 22nd. This is a really exciting team to watch. I'm going to pick Murray State over San Francisco, but it's going to be a fun game. San Francisco had a really good team this year. Really good team this year. I think this is the first time they've been in the tournament since '98. Khalil Shabazz and Jamari Boya, they're really just tough players. And then Yahin Masalki he's just a really at the rim player that you want on your team basically. So it'll be a close one, I think, but I'm going to pick Murray State. Kentucky and St. Peter's, I'm picking Kentucky. Kentucky, after Notre Dame upset Kentucky just kind of went on a wild streak, and they're a very good team this year. And, they're Final Four material, basically. I'll just say that there. Hint, hint. So, St. Peter's just isn't going to have anything in the tank against them, so Kentucky all the way. Baylor, North Carolina, I'm picking Baylor. Just, too much talent for North Carolina there. St. Mary's and UCLA, very intriguing matchup. St. Mary's is going to give UCLA big slowdown fits. It's a popular pick for St. Mary's to upset UCLA, which is possible, but I think UCLA, just at the end of the day, with the better talent, is going to come away with it. And UCLA will have another Sweet 16 after their surprise Final Four run last year. Virginia Tech, Purdue. It's going to be a close game. Virginia Tech's going to fight hard, but I think at the end of the day, Matt Painter and the Boilermakers are going to come out of that one there. Murray State and Kentucky, as much as I'd love to pick Murray State in that, and it's possible, I picked Wofford a couple years ago to beat Kentucky after I saw that hot shooter from Wofford just keep sinking, shots and whatnot. Wofford was doing pretty well against Kentucky. It's going to be a close one, but I think Kentucky's, still going to pull it off at the end of the day. Baylor at UCLA, this is going to be a great matchup. Both teams are loaded with talent. I'm picking UCLA to upset Baylor. I think UCLA just still has a lot of talent that is going to outlast. It's going to outlast Baylor in this, and I think Baylor just isn't going to reach the Final Four this year. They're good, but they're not that good. So that'll be a exciting upset there. Purdue and Kentucky. I'm picking. I'm going to go ahead and pick Kentucky in this one. Kentucky, basically, like I was talking about before, just really, really good team this year. Basically, they should have been. Honestly, I think Kentucky, more than likely should have been a 1 seed, and Tennessee a 2 seed, not a 3 seed. I forgot to mention that Tennessee was underseeded, but I think Kentucky or Tennessee were more worthy of a 1 seed than Baylor was. But they got the National Player of the Year front runner on there, Oscar Tshiebwe, and then Ty Washington, at point guard. I mean, you can't go wrong with him. They're just so super duper athletic, just so deep. Kentucky's going to do that. They're going to beat UCLA too. It's going to come down to Kentucky's bench just overwhelming UCLA's bench in that case there. So, Kentucky is my third Final Four team. So now we go to the Midwest with Kansas, the number 1 seed. The 16 seed play-in for Texas Southern and Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Texas Southern is 0-7 in the tournament, so they're probably not going to be a popular pick in this case. I'm going to go with Texas A&M Corpus Christi in that. It's been a while since they've been in. Kansas, of course, is going to win at the end of the day. But I just want to throw in that tidbit for any Texas Southern fans because of Mike Davis days and whatnot. San Diego State Creighton, it's kind of a toss-up. I'm going with Creighton, and San Diego State's a great defensive team. They're just not a good shooting team. Creighton's a good shooting team, and don't forget, Creighton beat the shit out of Providence in the Big East tournament. And Creighton right now is riding high. They made it all the way to the championship and just fell short against Villanova. Creighton's on a hot streak. I honestly think that they're going to beat San Diego State. It'll probably be a low-scoring game, but Creighton I think is going to pull that off. Iowa and Richmond, another 5-12. I don't recommend picking the 12 over the 5. Iowa won the Big Ten. Iowa is a sleeper hit for a lot of experts, and I can see why. They have such a high-powered offense. I'm definitely going to be picking Iowa. If you're looking for a dark horse in this bracket, Iowa is definitely a hot pick for this. So I'm definitely going to be picking Iowa in that one. Providence, South Dakota State. The Friars are having one of their best seasons in a long time, and I couldn't be happier for them, honestly. Their head coach was basically, on the verge of becoming Coach of the Year. Ed Cooley, he was going to be the Coach of the Year, but Tommy Lloyd is going to get that. There's no doubt about it. But he took the Friars off for a great season. Don't even worry about the Creighton loss. Obviously they're going against teams that haven't seen them or anything. They've just got a great, they just have a great they just have a great group of players like Nate Watson, Al Durham, and Justin Minaya, and they're just perfect bigs, defenders. So they're going to give a lot of fits. Now, this is another 13-4 popular pick too. Don't sleep on South Dakota State. South Dakota State has 30 wins on the season. Obviously they don't play in a major conference or anything of that nature, but South Dakota State's got a lot of good players. They've got a great tempo. This could potentially be a South Dakota State upset. I'm still going to go with Providence, but don't expect it to be an easy game for them. LSU and Iowa State. LSU fired Will Wade. LSU's in a lot of turmoil. They've got a good team. Iowa State, of course, usually gets hot around these times. I'm picking Iowa State just because of the fact that LSU is just in so much turmoil right now. I mean, LSU could win, but Iowa State basically just kind of seems to, play pretty hot around March Madness and whatnot. And LSU is just in so much turmoil. I think they're going to pretty much just fall off the rocker there. Wisconsin Colgate. This is another 3-14 that could potentially be a 14 upsetting a 3, because Colgate is a team that's going to give you slow down fits. Wisconsin is a sleeper that came out of nowhere, and it was such a surprise to see them. It was just such a surprise to see them rise from the unranked to potentially almost getting a 2 seed, except near the end of the season they kind of started slipping a little, but they're still a good team. I'm picking Wisconsin to win this, but Colgate's going to give them a battle. USC Miami. I was going to pick USC because, they've got some great players like Evan Mobley and whatnot, and Andy Dalton's a great head coach and everything, but Miami's got more of leadership. I think they have they've got the most seniors starting out of any team in the country, if I recall. Miami played really well. They were number 1 in the ACC for a while, and then when Notre Dame beat them, Notre Dame was number 1 in the ACC, but the ACC was down this year, so I'm going to pick Miami over USC in that one there. Auburn, Jacksonville State. Now, for those people who love to be crazy and pick 15 to try to get the 10th 15 seed to upset a 2 seed, let me get a drink of lemonade here. This realistically is the game where 15 could beat a 2 this year. Yeah, Auburn's talented. You got Jabari Parker and whatnot, great guards, but their guard play has been inconsistent near the end of the season. They've kind of started slipping. They were en route for 1 seed, and then near the end of the season, Auburn just started slipping. Now, that doesn't mean Auburn, sucks now or anything of that nature. But Jacksonville State has some of the hottest three-point shooting that you're going to see in one of the weaker conferences. They're going to hang around, and they're going to make life difficult for Auburn. So if you're a crazy picker and you want to pick a 15 over a 2, this is the most realistic one that's going to get there. Auburn's going to win this, but they're going to have to sweat through it, basically. So that's those there. Kansas and Creighton. This is a state matchup between 2 teams in Kansas. Creighton, now if you're looking for a 1-8 or 1-9 upset, this could potentially be this. Creighton could beat Kansas, honestly. Kansas is a good team, but this isn't like a superstar Kansas team like Bill Self's had in the past. This is a vulnerable Kansas team. Creighton's going to fight their hearts out in this game. I'm still picking Kansas to make it through, but Creighton could so if you're looking for a 1-8 upset, Creighton could do it. I think Creighton could beat Kansas. So if you're looking for something like that, Creighton has a big shot at that. Iowa Providence. I think Iowa's offense is going to overpower Providence in that game, and Iowa's basically going to make it into the Sweet 16. They're riding so high right now. I mean, it was just like last year they had a high-powered offense. It's the same thing, and they're just peaking at the right time. I think Iowa's going to overpower Providence in that. Iowa State, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's going to play Iowa State to their pace. I think Wisconsin's going to have a fairly easy victory against Iowa State in that one. Miami and Auburn. Miami will give Auburn some fits, but I think Auburn, just being more talented, is going to come away with it in that one. But Auburn's going to have another fight on their hands in that game for sure. Kansas and Iowa. This is something that I was debating. I want to pick Kansas, but I just think because Iowa's so hot right now with their offense, I'm going to pick Iowa for the upset against the top seed there. So I think Iowa's going to make the Elite Eight. They're just so good right now that it's just hard not to pick them. Kansas could still very well win that game, but it's going to be like a toss-up at that point. Wisconsin and Auburn, I kind of debated. I was considering Auburn as a Final Four team earlier in the season, but now I think because of Wisconsin's pacing against Auburn, I think Wisconsin's going to beat Auburn in that game. It's going to be a Big Ten Elite Eight matchup between Iowa and Wisconsin. A lot of people are picking Iowa to get to the Final Four. No 5 seed has ever been in the Final Four, so they're picking Iowa to play Arizona in the Final Four, ironically enough. I could potentially see that happening. It could be possible, and Iowa could break that record. I'm going to go be safe, though, and go with Wisconsin. I just feel that Wisconsin has kind of like more of the depth that's required to beat them. So at this point, this is the Final Four for me. Gonzaga takes on Kentucky. Arizona takes on Wisconsin. Gonzaga gets to the championship. It's going to be tough. Like, Kentucky could very well beat Gonzaga, just to let you know. Kentucky's good enough to be a national championship contender. I'm picking Gonzaga because I think Gonzaga is just on such a hot streak that they feel they're due again. And, obviously getting shorted last year, they're on a warpath again. Arizona, Wisconsin. Arizona needs revenge for 2 years in a row being bounced out of the Elite Eight against Wisconsin. They're not playing a Sean Miller boring team that's loaded with talent that's slow. They're playing a fast Arizona team loaded with talent. If Arizona maintains the tempo, they're going to beat Wisconsin, get to their first national championship in 25 years, and it's the head coach versus the assistant coach. The dream matchup. Everybody wants this. Just about everybody in the country wants this matchup. This game could go either way. Arizona either basically wins their Cinderella season, or Gonzaga finally wins a national championship for the first time in program history, and it's either going to come down to the wire, or it's possible Gonzaga's going to be like, look, Arizona, you played a great season, but we're going to unfortunately show you how to really play basketball, and they trounce Arizona. But got to go with my alma mater, and I'm picking I'm picking Arizona winning 84-80 in the national championship. It's going to be a high-scoring game. It feels so good to pick the Cats for the first time in ages. Congratulations, you've chosen Arizona to win it all this year. I haven't done this since 2015, so it just feels so good to pick them to be the top dogs. So fingers crossed, obviously. Alright, so that takes care of my bracket. Got Pikachu setting up here. How's your dinner there?
Pretty good.
Pretty good, alright. We got Popeyes, so
A couple things and I'll get over there.
yeah, no problem at all. So while Pikachu's getting set up, so I'll kind of run through here. If you're looking for potential 5-12 upsets, New Mexico State over UConn, UAB over Houston, those are ones that I would definitely pick there for that. Don't be ashamed of that. But the other two, I just feel the 5 seeds have the better talent. I think all 11 seeds are going to beat the 6 seeds. So, So we'll reverse that. What 6 seed more than likely can progress? More than likely LSU. Even though with their turmoil, they could still more than likely make it through. I know it's crazy for me to say that, but yeah. 4-13s. Honestly, the Vermont, Arkansas could potentially be that. Chattanooga, Illinois. I think San Diego or South Dakota State Providence is your best pick, basically. I think they're the best pick for a 13-4 upset, honestly, because South Dakota State is like one of those teams that you don't mess around with, basically. 3-14, like I said, Yale over Purdue is probably your best bet in that. Colgate could potentially beat Wisconsin, but I think Wisconsin's just a way better team. The other two don't even bother. And then 2-15, of course, like I said, Jacksonville State over Auburn's your best bet. If you're crazy enough for a 16-1 upset, don't really see it happening this year, honestly. None of these teams really have what it takes to do it. So I couldn't really tell you in that sense. All right, Gonzaga or Georgia State?
Gonzaga.
Yeah. Boise State or Memphis?
Boise.
Okay. UConn or New Mexico State?
New Mexico.
Yeah, I figured as much. Arkansas or Vermont?
Arkansas.
Okay. Alabama or Rutgers or are you picking Notre Dame over Rutgers? Okay. Alabama or Notre Dame?
Notre Dame.
Okay. Texas Tech or Montana State?
Texas.
Okay. Michigan State or Davidson?
I'm going to pick Davidson.
Oh.
I don't know how far they're going to go, but in this one, they can win.
All right. Duke or Cal State Fullerton?
I don't like Duke, but right now I'm going to have to pick them.
Yeah. Gonzaga or Boise State?
Gonzaga.
All right. New Mexico State or Arkansas?
Oh, man. I think I'm going to have to go with Arkansas.
Okay. Notre Dame or Texas Tech?
I think realistically it has to be Texas in this one.
Yeah.
Much, you know.
Yeah. Davidson or Duke?
Oh, man. Good question. I'd have to say Duke again.
All right. Gonzaga or Arkansas?
Gonzaga.
All right. Texas Tech or Duke?
Texas.
All right. Gonzaga or Texas Tech?
Gonzaga.
All right. So there's the first Final Four pick for Pikachu there. Arizona, or are we going to go Wright State or Bryant?
Bryant.
And then Arizona, I'm assuming?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Seton Hall or TCU?
TCU.
Houston or UAB?
Houston.
Okay. Illinois or Chattanooga?
Illinois.
Okay. Colorado State or Michigan?
Michigan.
All right. Tennessee or Longwood?
Tennessee.
All right. Ohio State or Loyola Chicago?
Loyalist.
Loyalist. Villanova or Delaware?
Villanova.
All right. Arizona or TCU?
Arizona.
All right. Houston or Illinois?
Illinois for Boku.
Michigan or Tennessee?
Tennessee.
All right. Loyola Chicago or Villanova?
I'm going to pick Loyalist again.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That's been a hot pick for the Sweet 16 there. Arizona or Illinois?
Arizona.
All right. Tennessee or Loyola Chicago?
Tennessee.
All right. Arizona or Tennessee?
Arizona.
All right, so that's the second Final Four pick. Baylor or Norfolk State?
Baylor.
Okay. North Carolina or Marquette?
North Carolina.
All right. Wyoming or Indiana?
Indiana.
All right. St. Mary's or Indiana?
St. Mary's.
Okay. UCLA or Akron?
UCLA.
All right. Texas or Virginia Tech?
Texas.
Oh, okay. Purdue or Yale?
Yale.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, that one looks interesting. So
Murray State or San Francisco?
I'm going to pick San Francisco.
Oh, wow. Okay. Kentucky or St. Peter's?
Kentucky.
All right. Baylor or North Carolina?
Baylor.
All right. St. Mary's or UCLA?
Oh, man. UCLA.
All right. Texas or Yale?
Yale.
Oh, wow. Yale gets in the Sweet 16 for Pikachu's bracket. San Francisco or Kentucky?
Kentucky.
All right. Baylor or UCLA?
UCLA.
Oh, wow. Yale or Kentucky?
Oof. Kentucky.
All right. UCLA or Kentucky?
That's a scary one. UCLA.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's been a few people that have picked UCLA to get back into the Final Four.
They are really good. I don't really like them, but they're really good.
Yeah. Texas Southern or Texas A&M Corpus Christi?
Texas A&M.
All right. Kansas or Corpus Christi?
Kansas.
All right. San Diego State or Creighton?
I have a cousin that went to Creighton, and they're really good right now, so let's go with that.
Sounds good. Iowa or Richmond?
Iowa.
All right. Providence or South Dakota State?
Let's just do South Dakota.
All right. Yeah, that's a fine pick. Yeah. LSU or Iowa State?
Iowa.
All right. Wisconsin or Colgate?
That one's kind of tricky, but we'll go with Wisconsin.
All right. USC or Miami?
USC.
Okay. Wow, that's the first 7 seed you picked. Holy cow. Auburn or Jacksonville State?
I'm going to choose Jacksonville on this one.
I had a feeling you were talking about that. Kansas or Creighton?
Ooh. Let's do Creighton.
I had a feeling you were going to pick Iowa or South Dakota State?
Iowa.
All right. Iowa State or Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
All right. USC or Jacksonville State?
Let's do Jacksonville.
Oh, wow. So another 15 gets in the Final Four. Sweet 16. Creighton or Iowa?
Iowa.
All right. Wisconsin or Jacksonville State?
Wisconsin.
All right. Iowa or Wisconsin?
Iowa.
Iowa becomes the first five seed to get the Final Four there. So
yeah, that would be real cool to see.
There's her Final Four. Gonzaga or UCLA?
Gonzaga.
All right. Arizona or Iowa?
Arizona.
All right. And then we've got the same national championship. So who wins it all?
Arizona.
All right. And what's your final score prediction?
Let's see. 86 Arizona, 82 Gonzaga.
All right. There we go. So there you have it. Those are our March Madness picks for 2022. Fingers crossed. I'm just hoping that this is going to be the year that Arizona does it.
Oh, I know, right?
It's been so long.
They're this good.
Yeah, this is a really good team, and if Kerr Carissa is healthy, they're going to make it. I mean, they've shown that they can play, well with Kyer at point guard, and Kyer's more of a scorer inside than Carissa is, but you want to make sure you have the best bench possible, and it sounds like he's getting better, so this is going to be a really exciting team to watch. All right, well, hey, best of luck to everybody.
Best of luck to Carissa to get better.
Yeah, no kidding. We got this. We got this, like you said. When you said it from the wheelchair that we're gonna win it all, baby. So we got this. So hey, best of luck to everybody's brackets starting Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. We'll see what happens, and I hope you enjoy the games. We'll obviously do our end of the first round, end of the second round videos like we would do for analysis and everything of that nature, and just talk through it. But in the meantime, let the madness begin. This is Gray Fox 37
and Pikachu 23,
and bring it.